Before we surrender to the tranquil embrace of tonight's Odyssey, a gentle whisper, a small offering to the currents of digital existence. Remember to subscribe to Papa Past. With every click, with every new subscriber, you help weave more threads into the tapestry of peaceful stories, tales that will cradle your spirit and guide you through the starlit pathways of the night. May these narratives be your companions, steadfast and true, as you drift into the quiet realm of slumber. Now, my dear traveler, allow the currents of time to gently pull you, to guide your spirit across the thresholds of the forgotten. Settle into the comfort of your sanctuary. Let your breath deepen and feel the ancient dust of ages settle upon your soul as we embark on a journey, a profound, mesmerizing expedition to the mystical, enigmatic land of Egypt. This is a realm where the veil between worlds was thin, where the mundane intertwined seamlessly with the divine, where gods descended from the heavens to walk among mortals, where magic flowed like the lifeblood of the great river, and where the afterlife was not a distant dream, but a meticulously planned, vividly imagined continuum of existence. It is a place where every ritual, every belief, every whisper of prayer was steeped in an intoxicating blend of mystery, reverence, and unimaginable power. In this land of pharaohs, of towering pyramids that pierce the very heavens, of vibrant temples and intricate hieroglyphs, understanding was not merely sought. It was breathed, lived, and embodied. We are about to step into a civilization that didn't just believe in the unseen. They architected their entire world around it, leaving behind a legacy of awe and wonder that continues to captivate hearts millennia later. So, close your eyes now, my friend. Allow the whispers of the desert wind to become your guide. Listen closely to the echoes of forgotten hymns, and let the infinite sands of time carry us back, far, far back, to one of the most magnificent, deeply spiritual, and utterly fascinating civilizations that ever graced the annals of human history. Let the journey begin. From the very dawn of creation, ancient Egypt was a land intricately woven into the fabric of the divine. It was a realm where the very air thrummed with the presence of myriad gods, deities who did not merely observe, but actively shaped every facet of existence. They ruled over the colossal sun, the boundless sky, the life-giving rivers, and the mysterious, eternal realm of the afterlife. Every sunrise, every flood, every human emotion, every natural phenomenon was attributed to their will, their whims, their beneficence, or their wrath. At the radiant heart of Egyptian belief, the pulsating core of their cosmic understanding, resided Ra, the awe-inspiring sun god. Each day, with unwavering dedication, he traversed the vast, cerulean expanse of the sky in his resplendent golden chariot, a celestial voyager bringing forth the life-sustaining gift of light and warmth to the awakening world below. His tireless journey from the vibrant blush of dawn to the hushed embrace of dusk was far more than a mere passage of time. It was a profound, deeply sacred symbol, an eternal allegory for the ceaseless cycle of life and death, of creation and renewal, an echo of the very rhythm of the universe itself. His setting each evening was not an end, but a promise of resurrection, a nightly descent into the underworld to battle the forces of chaos, ensuring his triumphant return with the new day's light. But Ra, magnificent as he was merely the luminous gateway to a pantheon teeming with equally powerful and purposeful deities. There was Osiris, the venerable god of the afterlife, whose tragic death and miraculous resurrection became the most potent and enduring symbol of rebirth, renewal, and the promise of eternal life. His story of betrayal and triumph offered solace and hope to every Egyptian. Then came Isis, his fiercely devoted wife, a goddess revered above all for her boundless magic, her unparalleled healing powers, and her unwavering maternal love. She was the weaver of spells, the restorer of life, the archetype of divine womanhood. And of course, there was Horus, the majestic falcon-headed god, the rightful heir to the throne, embodying kingship, protection, and the expansive sky itself. His piercing eye, the famed eye of Horus, was not merely a symbol of vision. It was said to hold the profound secrets of the universe, a source of protection, royal power, and good health, reflecting the wisdom and vigilance required to maintain cosmic order. From Geb, the earth god, and Nut, the sky goddess, locked in an eternal embrace, to Thoth, the wise ibis-headed deity of knowledge and writing, who meticulously recorded every truth, and Ma'at, the embodiment of truth, justice, and cosmic order, whose feather would determine a soul's fate. Each deity played a vital, interconnected role in the grand, intricate cosmic drama that was ancient Egyptian existence. Their stories were not just myths, they were living truths, guiding principles etched into the very soul of the civilization, shaping their daily lives, their hopes, and their dreams for eternity. To the ancient Egyptians, death was not the bleak, irreversible cessation of existence that many cultures conceived it to be. Instead, it was viewed as a profound, perhaps the most significant, transition, a pivotal passage, a sacred journey from the familiar terrestrial realm to the boundless, enigmatic dimensions of the afterlife. They held an unwavering belief that after the last breath, the human soul, the vibrant essence of an individual, embarked upon a perilous yet ultimately purposeful expedition through the treacherous labyrinth of the Duat, the underworld. This journey was fraught with challenges, populated by both benevolent deities and fearsome guardians, all designed to test the soul's purity and worthiness. The very first and perhaps most crucial examination awaited them in the Hall of Two Truths, the solemn, unyielding ritual known as the weighing of the heart. Imagine, if you will, the deceased soul standing before a grand celestial tribunal. At the heart of this judgment stood Ma'at, the embodiment of cosmic truth, justice, and order, whose presence radiated an almost palpable sense of serene impartiality. On one pan of the divine scales, delicately poised, rested her feather, the feather of truth, pure and unblemished. On the opposing pan, the heart of the deceased was carefully placed. This was no mere physical organ. It was believed to be the seat of the soul, the vessel of all memories, thoughts, and deeds performed during one's earthly existence. The outcome was absolute, uncompromising. If the heart, purified by a lifetime lived in accordance with Ma'at's principles, was found to be lighter than her feather, a feather so light it symbolized the utter absence of deceit, malevolence, or moral transgression, then the soul was declared true of voice. This blessed affirmation signified its worthiness, granting it the sacred right to enter the Aru, the field of reeds. This was their promised paradise, a verdant, idyllic realm mirroring the fertile lands of the Nile, where the soul could dwell in eternal peace, reunited with loved ones and gods, living a life of perpetual joy and abundance, free from suffering and want. However, the consequences of a life misspent, of a heart burdened by deceit, injustice, or unkindness, were dire. If the heart, heavy with the weight of sin and transgression, tipped the scales, proving heavier than Mehat's feather, the outcome was immediate and terrifying. At the foot of the scales lurked Ammit, a monstrous composite beast with the head of a crocodile, the body of a lion, and the hindquarters of a hippopotamus, a chilling personification of ultimate annihilation. Without hesitation, Ammit would devour the condemned heart, and with it the soul's very essence. Such a fate meant eternal oblivion, a terrifying second death from which there was no return. The soul would be lost forever, denied entry into the field of reeds, its existence utterly extinguished from the cosmic tapestry. Thus, the weighing of the heart was not just a belief, it was a profound moral compass, a powerful incentive for Egyptians to live a life of integrity, righteousness, and respect for the intricate balance of Ma'at, ensuring their passage into the promised eternal paradise. To assist the deceased in their momentous and perilous journey through the shadowy realms of the afterlife, the ancient Egyptians did not leave their loved ones to wander blindly into the unknown. Instead, they thoughtfully provided them with an indispensable and profoundly sacred guide, a spiritual compass and shield known to us today as the Book of the Dead. Yet, despite its common name, this was not a single bound volume in the modern sense. Rather, it was a vast, evolving collection of meticulously chosen spells, powerful incantations, devout prayers, and intricate rituals, all carefully inscribed upon fragile papyrus scrolls, or sometimes even upon the walls of tombs, sarcophagi, or linen bandages. Each passage was meticulously crafted, designed with one ultimate purpose: to safeguard the deceased, to empower their transition, and to protect them from the myriad dangers, malevolent spirits, and formidable challenges they were destined to encounter on their arduous path through the Duat, the Egyptian underworld. These arcane texts were the ultimate survival guide for the eternal voyage. The spells covered an astonishing breadth of situations, offering specific instructions and divine invocations for nearly every conceivable obstacle. There were powerful verses on how to skillfully face the stern judgment of Osiris, ensuring a favorable outcome in the Hall of Two Truths. Other incantations provided crucial wisdom on how to avert the terrifying fate of being devoured by the monstrous beasts, and chthonic entities that lurked in the underworld's darkest corners. Still more spells served as direct appeals, enabling the deceased to call upon specific gods for their divine intervention, protection, and guidance at critical junctures of their journey. Some passages even detailed methods for transforming into various animals or objects, offering unique advantages in navigating the spiritual landscape. Each word, each symbol, each invocation was believed to possess immense magical power, capable of influencing the spiritual realm and securing the soul's passage to eternal bliss. The Book of the Dead was more than just a compendium of magical formula. It was a testament to the Egyptians' deep understanding of the cosmos, their profound reverence for the afterlife, and their unwavering determination to secure immortality for their beloved dead. It ensured that no soul would be left to wander lost, terrified, or unprotected in the daunting expanse of darkness. This vital collection was almost invariably placed with the deceased in their tombs, either carefully rolled within their sarcophagus, tucked beneath their mummy's wrappings, or sometimes even inscribed directly onto the walls of their burial chamber, becoming an inseparable part of their eternal resting place. It was the ultimate gift, a luminous beacon of hope and guidance, illuminating the path to everlasting life and ensuring the soul's triumphant reunion with the divine. Of all the rituals and practices that define ancient Egypt in our minds, perhaps none is as iconic, as painstakingly elaborate, or as profoundly sacred as the art and science of mummification. To the Egyptians, this complex process was not merely a macabre curiosity or a bizarre custom. It was an absolute necessity, an indispensable prerequisite for the soul's continued existence and prosperity in the afterlife. Their core belief was simple yet profound. For the Ba, the personality or spiritual mobility, and the Ka, the life force or spiritual double of the deceased, to flourish and find their way to eternal paradise, the physical body, their earthly vessel, had to be preserved meticulously and perfectly for all eternity. Without a preserved body, the Ka would have no anchor, no familiar home to return to, and the soul would be tragically lost, condemned to wander endlessly in a state of disembodied oblivion, unable to partake in the joys of the field of reeds. The mummification process itself was a marvel of ancient embalming artistry, a highly ritualized procedure that could span as long as 70 days. It began with the initial embalming, a thorough purification and cleansing of the body, preparing it for the arduous preservation. Crucially, the internal organs, vital for the Ka's recognition, were carefully removed. The brain often extracted through the nostrils, the intestines, lungs, liver, and stomach, gently but thoroughly removed. These organs were not discarded. Instead, they were meticulously dehydrated, treated with preserving resins, and then placed into specially designed canopic jars. Each of these 4 jars was distinctively topped with the head of one of the 4 sons of Horus, divine protectors assigned to guard specific organs: Imseti for the liver, Hapi for the lungs, Duamutef for the stomach, and Kebe-Senuef for the intestines. The heart, however, was almost always left within the body, as it was believed to be the seat of intellect, emotion, and conscience, essential for the weighing of the heart ceremony. After the organs were attended to, the body itself underwent a rigorous dehydration process. It was packed and covered with natron salt, a naturally occurring mineral mixture with potent drying properties, for a period of about 40 days. This desiccated the body, preventing decay and preserving its form. Once dried, the natron was removed, and the body was meticulously cleaned and anointed with sacred oils and fragrant resins, often poured into the cranial cavity and body cavity to further preserve and sanctify. Finally, the true artistry of the mummification process culminated in the elaborate wrapping. Priests, often wearing the mask of Anubis, the jackal-headed god of embalming, would meticulously enshroud the body in countless layers of fine linen bandages, each strip carefully applied and often infused with liquid resin. Between the layers, a multitude of amulets and charms were strategically placed, each with its own magical purpose: a scarab beetle for rebirth, the Ankh for life, the Eye of Horus for protection, all designed to imbue the deceased with divine protection and empower their journey into the afterlife. This intricate sacred process was not just about preservation, it was an act of profound devotion, a meticulous ritual ensuring that the deceased would be perfectly prepared, physically and spiritually, for their eternal existence, ready to awaken in the glorious light of the afterlife. The temples of ancient Egypt were far more than mere buildings of worship. They were conceived and constructed as the sacred living homes of the gods themselves, earthly reflections of the celestial order. Each temple was a magnificent architectural marvel, meticulously designed to honor and house a specific deity or a triad of gods, serving as the physical conduit between the mortal and divine realms. The Egyptians held an unwavering belief that the very essence, the Ka, of the gods resided within the cult statues housed deep within the temple's inner sanctums. Consequently, access to these holiest of holies was strictly controlled. Only the highest-ranking priests, specially purified and dedicated to the service of the gods, were permitted to enter these most sacred inner chambers where the deity's statue was kept, performing daily rituals of offering, cleansing, and adoration. These temples were monuments of breathtaking scale and intricate detail, testaments to both profound piety and immense royal power. Their grand facades were often adorned with towering pylons, massive gateways that symbolized the horizon where the sun rose. Beyond them lay vast, open courtyards where the common people could gather during festivals. Deeper within, one would find hypo-style halls, forests of colossal columns intricately carved with hieroglyphs depicting mythological scenes, historical events, and the pharaoh's divine relationship with the gods. These halls were designed to evoke a sense of awe and reverence, their diminishing light and increasing intimacy guiding one towards the sacred heart of the temple. The very air within their stone walls was believed to be charged with divine energy, filled with the resonant sounds of chanting, the intoxicating aroma of incense, and the solemn performance of daily rituals and offerings. One of the most colossal and enduring examples of this architectural and spiritual grandeur was the Temple of Karnak, and sprawling complex dedicated primarily to the mighty god Amun-Ra, king of the gods. Spanning hundreds of acres, it was a living testament to thousands of years of continuous worship and expansion. Within its sprawling precincts, elaborate daily rituals were meticulously performed, not merely for the gods' pleasure, but to ensure the continued prosperity of the land, the vitality and legitimacy of the pharaoh, and the well-being of the entire Egyptian populace. These temples were not just static places of worship. They were dynamic, pulsating centers of Egyptian life. They functioned as economic powerhouses, owning vast tracts of land, employing thousands of people, and collecting immense wealth. They were also centers of learning, housing scriptoriums where sacred texts were copied and studied, and schools where priests were trained. They were repositories of knowledge, art, and divine power, the very cornerstones upon which the spiritual, social, and political fabric of ancient Egyptian civilization was built. They were the visible anchors of an invisible divine reality, places where heaven and earth converged. Perhaps the most iconic, the most universally recognized, and undeniably the most awe-inspiring symbols of ancient Egypt are the pyramids, those colossal geometric marvels of stone that still pierce the vast Egyptian sky. These monumental structures were not merely tombs. They were painstakingly engineered gateways to the afterlife, cosmic elevators designed to facilitate the pharaoh's ultimate ascension into the realm of the gods. Built with an unimaginable precision that defies modern comprehension, often aligned with astonishing accuracy to celestial bodies and cardinal directions, the Egyptians profoundly believed that the pyramids, imbued with immense energy and sacred geometry, would serve as powerful launch pads, guiding the divine soul of the deceased pharaoh on its perilous yet destined journey to the heavens to join the eternal company of Ra and Osiris. Inside these magnificent mountains of stone, the pharaoh's mummified body, the culmination of the meticulous mummification process, was laid to rest within an elaborate burial chamber. This chamber was not a simple vault. It was a treasure trove designed to sustain the pharaoh's Ka and Ba in the afterlife. Surrounding the sarcophagus were vast quantities of invaluable treasures, exquisite works of art, meticulously crafted furniture, and abundant offerings, food, drink, and personal possessions, all meant to sustain the pharaoh on their eternal journey, providing everything necessary for a prosperous existence in the field of reeds. The walls of the burial chambers, and sometimes even the passages leading to them, were not left bare. Instead, they were covered with an astonishing array of intricate carvings and vibrant hieroglyphics. These pictorial narratives depicted not only significant events from the pharaoh's earthly life, but also sacred scenes of the gods, their myths, and crucial passages from the pyramid texts, and later, the Book of the Dead, providing the pharaoh with the magical knowledge and protective spells required to navigate the perilous underworld. Each pyramid was a microcosm of the universe, a symbolic hill of creation where the pharaoh could be reborn, just as Ra was reborn each morning. The sheer logistical feat of their construction, involving millions of precisely cut and moved stone blocks, remains a testament not only to ancient Egyptian engineering prowess, but also to their unwavering belief system and the absolute power of their pharaohs. They were not just tombs for kings, they were sacred mountains, tangible representations of the divine order, designed to elevate the ruler to godhood, ensuring their eternal reign in the cosmic dance of life, death, and rebirth. These monumental structures stand as silent, eternal witnesses to a civilization that quite literally built its aspirations for eternity into the very landscape. The Nile River, this magnificent serpentine ribbon of life, was not merely a geographical feature to the ancient Egyptians, it was the indisputable lifeblood of their entire civilization, a divine entity imbued with sacred power and profound spiritual significance. For them, the Nile was more than just a river. It was seen as the very tears of the goddess Isis, shed in mourning for her beloved Osiris, or even as the cosmic manifestation of the god Hapi, who embodied the annual inundation. Its rhythmic annual flooding was not perceived as a destructive force, but as a miraculous, utterly essential blessing, a direct, tangible gift from the gods, carrying rich, fertile silt from the heart of Africa to deposit along its banks. This annual inundation brought forth unparalleled fertility and prosperity, allowing the Egyptians to cultivate abundant crops in a largely arid landscape, truly sustaining their civilization from antiquity to the present day. Without the Nile's predictable bounty, the rise of such a complex and enduring society would have been impossible. It was along the verdant, life-giving banks of this sacred river that the Egyptians meticulously built their magnificent cities, erected their awe-inspiring temples dedicated to the gods, and constructed their eternal tombs for the deceased. Every aspect of their daily existence, from agriculture to trade, from transportation to spiritual ceremonies, was intricately woven around the Nile's rhythm and presence. The river was their highway, their granary, and their spiritual conduit. It wasn't just the source of all earthly life and sustenance. The Nile was also profoundly believed to be a sacred pathway, a mystical current leading directly to the afterlife. When the dead were prepared for their final rest, their souls were said to embark upon a symbolic journey along the waters of the Nile, mirroring the sun, god Ra's nightly voyage through the underworld. Just as Ra was reborn each morning after his journey through the Duat, so too would the deceased, guided by the river's ancient currents, move steadily toward their ultimate destination, the field of reeds, their promised paradise. The Nile was therefore not just a physical artery, but a spiritual one, connecting the mortal realm to the divine, the living to the dead, and the present to the eternal. Its waters cleansed, nourished, and ultimately carried the spirits of the Egyptians to their everlasting home, embodying a profound and unwavering belief in the cyclical nature of existence, mirroring the river's own endless flow. In ancient Egypt, magic was not relegated to the realm of myth or frivolous superstition. It was an utterly central, pervasive, and deeply integrated aspect of daily life, a fundamental force that permeated every layer of society and belief. It was known as Heka, a divine force that predated even the gods themselves, believed to be the very power of creation that brought the universe into being. The Egyptians firmly believed that words spoken with intent and reverence, and objects meticulously crafted and consecrated, possessed immense tangible power, a power capable of protecting the innocent, healing the afflicted, influencing the divine, and even altering the very course of events, shaping destiny itself. This wasn't mere trickery. It was a sophisticated system of belief and practice designed to maintain cosmic order, ma'at, and influence both the seen and unseen worlds. Priests serving as intermediaries between humanity and the divine, and skilled magicians trained in the ancient arts of Heka would meticulously perform elaborate rituals and intricate incantations. These weren't spontaneous acts. They were precise, formalized ceremonies, often performed in sacred spaces like temples or tombs, using specific gestures, offerings, and sacred texts. Their purpose was manifold: to invoke the benevolent protection of the gods against malevolent forces, to secure divine favor for earthly endeavors, to ensure the fertility of the land, to ward off evil spirits and demons that lurked in the shadows, or to bring about desired outcomes in matters of health, love, or fortune. Each ritual was a carefully choreographed dance between the human and the divine, a respectful plea for intervention and empowerment. Amulets, small yet potent objects inscribed with sacred symbols, divine images, or hieroglyphic spells, were ubiquitous in ancient Egypt. They were not just adornments. They were powerful talismans, worn constantly by the living as protective charms against ill fortune, disease, and danger. The most common included the scarab beetle, symbolizing rebirth and the rising sun; the ankh, the hieroglyph for life, representing eternal existence; and the Eye of Horus, a potent symbol of protection, healing, and royal power, warding off evil and ensuring well-being. Crucially, these same amulets were meticulously placed with the deceased in their tombs, often wrapped within the mummy's bandages or laid upon the body. They served as vital safeguards, ensuring the soul's safety, guidance, and ultimate success in navigating the perils of the underworld, protecting them against demonic entities and ensuring a smooth passage to paradise. The Egyptians' deep-seated belief in Heka was not simply a cultural quirk. It was a profound testament to their holistic worldview, where the material and spiritual realms were intimately intertwined, and where their magic was not only a powerful tool, but a fundamental necessity for ensuring their place in the world, in the cosmic order, and most importantly, in the eternal embrace of the afterlife. And so, my dear traveler, our mesmerizing journey through the infinite sands of ancient Egypt draws to a close for tonight. We have only scratched the surface of a civilization that was, and remains, an unparalleled wellspring of profound mysteries, its pantheon of majestic gods, its intricate, deeply symbolic rituals, and its unwavering, all-encompassing beliefs shaped every conceivable aspect of existence, from the simplest routines of daily life to the grandest preparations for death itself. The Egyptians did not merely live, they orchestrated their lives as a prelude to eternity, building a world that was as much spiritual as it was material. As we gently close this chapter of our collective exploration tonight, remember this indelible truth. The ancient Egyptians, as a living civilization, may have vanished into the mists of time, their vibrant cities buried beneath the shifting dunes. Yet their extraordinary legacy lives on, a luminous beacon piercing the darkness of millennia. It endures, etched irrevocably into the very stone of their colossal monuments, in the silent stoic grandeur of the pyramids, defying the ceaseless march of time, in the majestic weathered columns of their temples still echoing with forgotten hymns, and perhaps most profoundly in the countless captivating stories they meticulously left behind, inscribed on papyrus, carved on tomb walls, whispering through the very air of their ancient lands. These are not just historical artifacts. They are eternal echoes of a profound human aspiration for meaning, for connection, and for immortality. Now, as the gentle currents of this narrative lull you towards the threshold of slumber, allow your mind to wander freely, to drift effortlessly through the vast, shimmering expanse of these ancient sands of time. Let the images and whispers of pharaohs, gods, and eternal journeys fill your consciousness, guiding you to a place of deep rest and peaceful dreams. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and surrender to the embrace of the night. Good night, my friend, and may the benevolent gods of Egypt, guardians of cosmic order and eternal life, stand watch over your dreams, granting you serenity and protection until the dawn of a new day.